Alright kids, gather around, because for today's video we gotta talk about forgiveness. You know what that means, right? Like when your dad comes back into your life and he's actually carrying a jug of milk and some cigarettes, or when you're at a show and casually sexually harass the person who's giving you a humanitarian award, or when you foolishly buy movie tickets to see Demon Slayer in theaters but didn't realize you only have a couple of hours to work before you have to leave. And I bring this up because for today's video we gotta talk about Slowthai's latest album, Ugly, and how he's trying to forgive himself by tackling his issues head on under a more punk rock aesthetic. Alright, so when you take a look through Slowthai's discography, it definitely seems like he's pushing away from the hip-hop inspired sound that he was known for during his rise and after his potential shattering drama. But for him to now come back and take a completely different turn, this time relying on hard rock and loud emotional vocals instead of choppy bars and politically charged lyrics, really does show his growth and how he was able to properly handle his unfortunate downfall. I mean, just take the track Falling for example, being this more screamy and dramatic song with loud guitars and drums that could have also worked as an amazing closer, or the track Wicked Puppet that seems to be an interlude for the album, with Slowthai bouncing between his regular voice and this high-pitched, scratchy voice that's meant to be a representation of his bad influences and self-hatred, telling him to game end himself or to shut out all of his problems with drugs and alcohol. And as stated before, he does abandon the whole rapping aspect quite a bit on this album, relying on either deeper monotone vocals or screaming at the top of his lungs to give these tracks an edge. But even when he does rap on this project, it's less of rapping and more like a spoken word, giving us a more poetic rhythm to talk about his own personal problems that have plagued both his career and his life, problems that he feels has affected the world, such as the man's desire to game end each other for clout, while we have much bigger issues going on within the world, or the issue of discrimination against migrants into the UK. But as for the production, it mainly takes the angsty punk rock sound, relying heavily on some nice bass guitar and drums to make for some absolute banger of instrumentals, such as on the tracks Selfish and Happy. And while the majority of this album is going for that more angrier sound, there are tracks that do slow it down a bit, such as Never Again and the ending song 25% Club, that more utilizes piano and a little bit of drums. Although Never Again does pick up after about a minute into the track, getting a bit more fast paced and kind of raising the energy with the drums carrying us through instead of the piano. But of course, how can I not talk about the intro track Yum, that honestly sounds like something I hear on Yeezus, with its dark minimal electronic beat that Slowthai speaks over, talking about frustrations with his therapist and still having more grotesque bars such as golden showers and doing drugs. And then there's also the track Sooner that instead takes a more darker route in terms of lyricism under the guise of a more pop rock beat that sounds like something you hear in a Bounty commercial. And although it's not really one of my favorites, I still think it's listenable. And while the instrumentals do have a theme, it seems like Slowthai's vocal mixing on the track is the one that kind of goes all over the place, bouncing between different pitches and honestly going back and forth between the muddy effects to help these songs, and I honestly believe it's executed pretty well. But overall, this album was pretty nice. I mean, apparently this was supposed to be something Slowthai wanted to work on for a long while, and after listening through this for this review, I can definitely see that he wanted to try and put his best foot forward to make something he truly wanted to. So to put this on a scale, I'm giving this a strong 7 out of 10, being something that could possibly fly as someone's album of the year. But how do you guys feel about Slowthai's latest album? What would you rate it? Let me know down in the comments, so like and subscribing, follow my IG and Twitter, and follow Chocolate on Instagram for more illustrations. And on that note, I'll see you guys on Monday when I go deer hunting. That's it, just deer hunting. Peace.